Can we divide these up? You take this stack and I'll take this stack.
Good morning. Thank you. Thank you for coming out and helping us with our Get Out the Vote this weekend. We really appreciate the support. This is a very important election. My name is Geoff Kidwell. I'm the chairman of the party here in Campbell County. And I'd like to recognize Pete Garrett and Amy Tolles for their work on getting you guys together. I'd also like to recognize my wife Susan for not divorcing me through this process. Yeah, thanks. Senator Bunning couldn't be with us this morning. He is not feeling well, so we will definitely keep him in our thoughts, and hopefully he'll make a great recovery shortly. And Congressman Davis is here this morning to speak to us and kind of give us a little talk. So.
I think in the front of the speaker here, if we're getting too much feedback there, we can get rid of it. But I want to tell you something. For those of you that have been involved in the party going back the end of the 1980s, in fact, if you don't mind, I'm going to turn this thing off. I get to be in the echo chamber every week. You know, I tell you this: if you had a bad time last month and you're feeling down about things in your life, I just have to tell you, get over it, because I just spent September with Nancy Pelosi. Jim Bunning and Mitch McConnell had to spend it with Harry Reid. I can't think of two people I'd at least want to have around. But for those of you who started working back in the 1970s and in the early 1980s to reinvigorate and build a Republican Party from scratch, it is a phenomenal thing to see what has happened here in Campbell County. I want to tell you something. It has come a long way. I want to commend the leadership team and Geoff, especially his wife, who has had to endure great pain. Probably has an extra crown in heaven for the absence. It's kind of like being deployed for a long time, but what he's been doing. But Campbell County is the best organized county for the 72-hour program in our 24 counties in the 4th District. And it's because of you people. I want to commend you for that hard work and for the difference that you have made. 2 years ago, on this same Saturday morning, I was pronounced dead by the pundits in Washington, D.C. Absolutely gone, baked, cooked, finished, and Ken Lucas was measuring the drapes for his office. And they were in for a rude awakening when that weekend was over. We were watching that thing unfold. We worked hard all the way up until the polls closed, and we won by a decisive margin of being massively outspent. We won by 8.5 points in that race. And that same kind of second effort is important right now, because I was with Mitch all day yesterday going around. This race that he is in is approaching $50 million going to be spent, probably $30 million against him. And it's not because that people care about Kentucky. Kentucky is a battleground state in terms of leadership of the Senate. It's very, very important that we keep him in office, because he earned his nickname, the Firewall, by doing his best to protect the Constitution, protect our troops, protect the heartland, protect our industry, by what he was able to do as the leader of the Senate. And we've got money coming from New York and from San Francisco and from Chicago. And my question to you is, are you going to let people in San Francisco pick the senator from Kentucky? That's right. We're going to take it to them this weekend. And at the top of the ticket, we have a decisive election. You know, we saw what they've done across the river with the Acorn people that are registering voters. We've seen Acorn show up in Kentucky registering people who are dead, bringing names in. One lady walked in with a bushel of something like 11,000 voter registration cards. We got a good idea of what that means in the region here when folks are doing that. And the way that we're going to overcome that is the way we've done it in all of our past elections, is one voter at a time, door to door. 2 years ago, we touched 98,000 households in the last 5 days. And I'm going to ask you to join with me again. I appreciate your commitment so much to go out and make that second effort during the next 3 days, because that is going to be the difference in a lot of these races. It's not a question whether Campbell County is going to go for Mitch McConnell and John McCain. The issue is how big of a margin that we can offset where I think some bad things potentially can happen in our 2 large urban areas in the state. Let's make that extra push. Keep Mitch in there as a firewall. I ask you for your vote, absolutely, and send a decisive message to those. We've got some targeted races around here. We're going to send a message to the Democratic Party in Frankfurt that it says they're not interested in playing. They turn around and drop a bunch of money at the last minute on our local races. Let's send a message to keep them out of here once and for all in terms of that effort as we get ready for the local races in 2010. This presidential race is not over yet. Just like I was pronounced dead, John McCain has been pronounced dead, and the reason that all these pundits are saying that is they want to set him up and demoralize us and have us say, oh, well, it's not worth going any further. I'm going to tell you something. We're going to win this fight. We're going to go all the way till the end, and we don't quit until we're through the tape at 6:30 on Tuesday night, and it's going to be a good night for us here in the Heartland. I want to thank you for what you're doing. This makes a big, big difference. At the end of the day, two different communities are being represented in this election with all this feel-good, fluff, hope, and change stuff we're seeing out there. It's simply, do you want Barack Obama's vision of sharing the wealth, or do you want John McCain's vision of empowering Americans to build a future for themselves and build a future for our children that's not based on redistribution of wealth? And the whole thing on the Halloween weekend, we were going around trick-or-treating last night. I couldn't help but think of a cartoon I saw in a paper the other day. And there were some little kids came up to a door of a house. They open up the front door, and the man reaches into the kid's bag and says, I'm taking your candy, and I'm going to give it to the kids who decided to stay home tonight. Little girl's in the back, and she goes, oh, crap, Democrat. There's a bigger explanation on that picture because, here in Kentucky, I see that the fights that we get in are political fights in Washington. Here in Kentucky, our Democrats and Republicans generally agree on about 85% of the issues when it comes to energy policy and farm policy and manufacturing policy. But when you talk about folks like Barney Frank from Massachusetts who wants to use your money to give to Wall Street to go and buy banks, I don't think that's right. But you have Nancy Pelosi prevent us from using our energy and says that $10 a gallon gas is a good thing so that we can go to green jobs. That's not good for the Heartland or for Kentucky. You've got a message that you can share with Democrats and Republicans and independents. This is about our region, our future, our economic livelihood, and ultimately preserving the freedoms of this country. Let's go get it today. God bless you.